All right, and welcome to the Prometheus Afterthoughts podcast, the podcast where we talk to the most recent boot. And today, that is Caitlin. Caitlin, how you doing today?
I'm pretty good. Can't complain.
So, obviously, this is your time to speak on whatever you would like, your experience in the game, your boot, your edit, whatever. I do have to say, which this wasn't my original thought when we were filming the game, but I do have to say, in all honesty, I think you were truly my favorite merge player. I did not realize all of the little things that you were doing, behind the scenes, when the game was going on. Because, when the game's going on, I was busy, I'm busy doing a lot of stuff. So I don't have time to watch people's confessionals. We have like 20 minutes worth of confessionals and there's 5 minutes, So,
Yeah.
so I will say, when we had that time at the temple during your boot, truly, that was not me like, throwing it out to you to like warn you or anything. That was just me purely reading the room.
Yeah.
Um, and as you kind of say, and as time and time and time again, Lauren usually really gives up all the information. Just listen to her speech. She usually makes a really good speech. And so that was just me reading the room. I wasn't quite sure how things would go down. But anyway, sorry, I've already talked long enough. The floor is yours.
No, that was funny, and I gave you a hard time about that, but it was kind of at that point. It was pretty obvious what was going to happen, and I think both Lauren and I knew it was a you or me situation at that time. So yeah, I mean, we didn't have to be too vague about it, and I mean, Andrew straight up told me. I remember entering a room with him. As soon as I entered the room with him and Kyle, and I don't think anyone else was in at that point, but I remember as soon as I entered, he gave me his spiel that you see in the episode he's giving the other players. Well, he gave it to me to my face too. He said, um, people may perceive you as a goat, but I don't think you are. I think you're playing the game, and I think you could win if you sat at the end. And I'm kind of like, yikes. Like, my cover is blown. No, but I was kind of like, why is he telling me this? Like, even if he's thinking that, why would he tell me? But I could see, I mean, I could see he was trying to plant that seed, but he also had me fooled. I also thought that there was a chance he might vote Lauren with me. In fact, for a while, I thought it was him that voted Lauren with me. Until I find out in the next when the next person comes to jury. That's how I found out. So
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean that it was kind of a shock. Like I said, I wasn't 100% sure how things were going to pan out, but like I said, I was just reading the room, and honestly, I liked your reaction. It gave a little bit of some entertainment to the episode. But yeah, so I kind of want to just very briefly speak on the beginning of day one. Obviously, you were a little bit late. That was kind of a reoccurring thing that was talked about. And he was even talked about, I believe, during your boot episode or right around there. How much of an uphill battle do you think you really had? Because obviously you have a great social game, truly. I mean, I'm sure you're very well aware of that. So you managed to, integrate yourself very well. But how hard did that feel to you, or how hard was it actually for you during day one?
I'll admit it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. I mean, I've had times where I've been on the bottom. I never start on the bottom, but I've definitely had times where I've been on the bottom and I've been trying hard, and I'm like, okay, I know this is where I've got to pull out my best social game. And you're talking to people, you're trying to get something out of them, and they're giving nothing to you. This was not like that, honestly. I mean, it's like everyone says, it was a ton of social players, so that helps. I mean, and no one just like left me on red or wasn't willing to give me a chance. Lauren and Caro were very clearly willing to give me that chance very early on. So I do think that I have them to thank for making it at least to merge. So, but yeah, I mean, I I think I said in my merge confessional right before merge, I I said I kind of got in and had to immediately read the room and match people's energies, and I think that that is kind of what helped me stick around for longer is figure out who's outgoing, who I need to step up and be outgoing with and around, and where I need to lie low. So I think I pulled that off pretty well.
Yeah, 100%. I think you did absolutely a fantastic job. I don't like to speculate, too much or really go, think about the past a lot. But I mean, knowing what you know now, and maybe even in the moment too, what might you have done differently? Because we even talked about that on the deep dive. I think McKenna said maybe you should have, I believe, oh God, I believe she said you should have done it around earlier. I think maybe you could have waited around later. But honestly, in that situation, if I was actually in your spot, I probably would have done it around that round too. But as you did say in the confessional, it wasn't until that round that you even thought, shit, I don't think I can play the loyalty game anymore. I think I have to gun for Lauren. So, I mean, do you have any sort of regrets or anything that you might do differently?
That's a fair question. I mean, timing was a big thing, and like you said, I was back and forth. I mean, I think that was right around the round where I said before the challenge even, I said it's about time to make a move. I don't know if it'll be this round or next round. Um, but then something happened. I can't quite remember what it was. But that is basically where I was like, this is where I have to make the move. I think it just kind of clicked. Like the numbers are really only going to be in my favor now if I can swing Colin over, because I did not think Caro would do that with me. I wasn't even going to propose it to her. I was scared to. So it's funny watching back though to see that she was almost kind of weighing it. But yeah, I mean, the timing was really just all about when I was going to be able to get those numbers. And I figured by the next round that it would be too late. So I jumped on it there. I guess I regret not asking Caro. That's probably my biggest regret, because I think maybe if I had had that conversation with her instead of Andrew, I might have been able to talk her into it. But I don't know for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kara's a really smart player. She understands, the numbers of it all. She understands the strategy of it all. So I think there would have been a possibility. But as of up to this point, we've seen that she has played a very loyal game, and she stuck with Lauren. Lauren was her loyalty. I mean, they had a ride or die that they made, or a final two they made right towards the end of day one. But we do see though, right after you left the breakout room, she did say Colin or Caitlin. So I mean, she threw your name out at one
Yeah.
point too. Um, but yeah, it's just kind of crazy. I mean, there's so much going on. The game is so fast paced. I think people are just always kind of trying to think about their options.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I really had no idea what page Andrew and Kyle were on. Definitely did not think Kyle was sitting there thinking like, oh, Caitlin needs to be the next one to go. But yeah, I mean, I think it's like Kyle said, I did not talk to Kyle too much, DMs or otherwise. So that also could have been a fatal flaw of mine. Things might have been different if I had worked harder on my social game with Kyle and possibly Andrew.
I mean, that seems like that's been a common thing for a number of people. Some people just they didn't really have that time to socialize. Like let's look at David, for instance. David didn't get a chance to talk to a lot of people in that in between. Granted, he was out, partying the night before and he didn't have, reception. Then we look at Anna. Anna wasn't able to contact you or Caro because of the Facebook spam messages or however the hell that works. So I
Yeah.
mean, there's a lot of like misconnections that way. That could have really changed the whole game, which I guess is just something, I would assume moving forward in season two, we're just gonna have to tell people, hey, it's going to be to your benefit to probably just friend each other on Facebook. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is, I guess, in that regard. But yeah, did you have any other things you wanted to speak on, whether it be your edit, your experience, the podcast? Maybe we said something. I don't know. Anything. It's all yours. Final thoughts.
I don't have a lot. I mean, I'm pretty happy with my edit. I appreciate the light you kind of shone on my game because I don't think a lot of people saw it when we were playing. This is one of the more under the radar games I've played, and it's been kind of a constant inner battle of like, do flashy moves or will quiet moves make it to the end and win, or is it only the flashy ones? And I think that I did stand a chance in this game if I had made it to the end, but I just couldn't let go of that idea of like, I've got to make one big flashy move. So even if it takes me out, I got to try. And I'm glad that I did try at least. So yeah, I mean, overall, it was a really fun experience. I've gained amazing friends out of this. I mean, like Lauren, I talk to all the time, um, and and it's so fun to watch. It's quite eye opening. You don't see any games, uh, short or long term, from this point of view. So, I mean, even looking back on Final Tribal Council, there's people that if I had seen what I'm seeing now, I might have thought of them differently sitting up there. Um, so yeah, it's very eye-opening.
All right. Well, there you have it. Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate that. And thank you for everyone who's been listening. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. That'd be all greatly appreciated. And I guess on that note, have a good night, everyone.
Bye, guys.